Now, we need to talk about the contour cut process because it changes when we use white metallic ink. Why would a change in inks affect the workflow?
Good question. Well, it's not the ink as much as the software. Last month, we paired the VJ24 with the QE6000 vinyl cutter to demonstrate a workflow that's faster than 2-in-1 printer cutter combos. That's still true. We can still have the benefits of simultaneous print and cut workflow, but the process is a little different. In simple terms, fluorescent, white, and metallic are all spot colors. The RIP software doesn't process these the same way it does CMYK or other channels. So to preserve your spot colors, you have to export the design as an EPS file, then add it to Production Manager. To turn these prints into print and cut decals, we'll add the registration marks during the design phase using LXI's Contour Cut Mark feature. Then when we import the file into Production Manager, we print the image and the registration marks, and then, instead of sending the contour cut path from LXI's Production Manager, we'll send it from the LXI RIP design phase.
Okay, so it makes sense in my mind, but I need to see it. And so we have this video of you, Jerry, leading us through the process.
So now the question is, how do we use this same process with the metallic spot colors to create contour cut decals with our print and cut systems? Well, the process is a little bit different because, as we've already noted, we can't use the rip and print function and retain the spot color values. So what we're going to do is actually add the contour cut and the contour cut marks here in the design part of it, and then export all of that as an EPS, print the entire batch with the registration marks, and then come back and send it to the cutter from here, from the LXI design element. So let's show you how that works. I'm going to select this and add my registration marks, or my contour cut mark actually. So I've added the contour cut. Going to click the green check mark to make sure that's applied. Now, before I add the contour cut mark, since I'm going to print a batch of these, I'm going to go ahead and position this on the page how I want it to print. So I'm going to rotate this and maybe drop it down in the corner, and let's zoom out a little bit. So I'm going to make this a bit smaller, and we'll do a page of these. I want to leave room in the corner for my registration marks, so we'll position it right about there. The easiest way to convert one file into a bunch, especially after you've applied your contour cut, is to use the step and repeat function. So I'm going to go to Arrange, Step and Repeat, and produce a pattern of identical decals. So let's put the green check mark here to apply that. So there's my pattern. Now I can add my contour cut marks, and this is a feature unique to LXI. It's not found in Flexi. This is perfect for this application. So we're just going to go to Effects, and there's Contour Cut Mark. So now I can add my contour cut marks. Over here in Design Central, you'll see that there is a menu of available contour cut marks for different types of cutters. Since we're using the QE6000, I would select GraphTech Type 1 or Type 2 Automatic. If I were using the EnduroCut 3, then I would use GCC AAS2 for that particular cutter. Since we're going to use the QE6000 in this demonstration, we'll go with GraphTech Type 1 Automatic. And there are my marks. Click the green check mark to apply, and now I'm ready to send this as an EPS file to the printer. So I'm simply going to export this as an EPS, as I did earlier, and we'll call this LaFerrari Spot CC for contour cut, and include contour cut paths. Obviously you want to make sure that box is checked, and click OK. So now we're ready to import, and all we have to do is click on Add Job and surf to our recently saved EPS file, which is way down here in the list, and there it is right there. We're going to click Add. Now, one of the nice things about this is it does give you a preview of where your contour cut marks or contour cut path is, so it's good to find out where that is. So we're going to click on Job Properties, and you can see that black line here. That is actually a preview of where the contour cut path is. So you can see before you send it to the printer, before you commit to ink, whether or not you have this designed properly. And so we will rotate this to the orientation we had in LXI, centered on the page, and you can see we have the same pattern. And if you want to zoom in, you can see a preview of the contour cut path there. So again, we're going to use the same preset. We have our metallic spot color here, so we're going to go back to the white and metallic ink options and go back to spot color and overlay for metallic on color. And we are ready to send this job. We don't need to do anything with the ink limits because again we're printing 100% spot color, and we'll simply go ahead and send this as a normal print job, but it will print with the registration marks, which you can see here in the four corners. And now we're almost ready to contour cut. And again, the nice thing about this is once I finish this batch of prints, I can open that and hit send again and print the next batch while I'm contour cutting the first batch, so I can get the benefits of simultaneous print and cut workflow. So now that we have printed our graphic and we have our registration marks on the page, we're simply going to go back to LXI Design. At this point we do not want to make any changes, because if you resize it or move it, then you're going to affect your print and cut alignment. So we're simply going to select the file and go to File, Cut Contour, and send this to our QE6000. And you see we have our preview that shows the same pattern with nothing but the contour cut paths indicated, and of course your registration marks. We've already positioned the blade over this first lower right registration mark and set that as our origin point on the cutter, so we're actually ready to contour cut. So all I have to do now is click send, and LXI will prompt me to position the blade over that spot. Here we go. And since I've already done that, I'm going to click OK, and the process will resume automatically, and the cutter is scanning the registration marks, cutting out the job, and then we can go back and send the next batch of prints.
All right, so that's how we contour cut with applying registration marks in our design as opposed to adding them in Production Manager.
Yes, it's a small change that we'll have to make when printing spot colors, but nothing our viewers can't handle.